This voice is well known in the music scene. It belongs to Clara Sorace and has not only been featured in video game blockbusters like Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Age of Empires 4, but has also inspired the creation of an entire virtual instrument series dedicated to capture her incredibly lively and versatile performances, the Ethera Gold series. With Ethera Gold, we've gone through bold and epic Viking and warrior chants, soft and intimate vocals in the style of the Gladiator soundtrack, and Middle Eastern-inspired sounds. Today, I have the pleasure to present and review the final installment of the Ethera Gold series, Ethera Gold Atlantis. Atlantis is officially described as having a fantasy, medieval, and Celtic flavor. Personally, I would add general cinematic to that. To achieve all of these adjectives, Atlantis comes with a whopping 7 legato articulations, a lyrical and a bit more classical romantic legato, cinematic and evocative A, soft A, and U legatos, a more ornamented E legato, which can be particularly useful for a medieval or Celtic type of sound due to its vocal ornaments, and 2 legato patches with phonemes, which basically means that the legato is the same, but each new note starts with a set of consonants, or, well, phonemes. In addition to these 7 legatos, there are very interesting sustains with multiple styles, a very cool phonemes builder, and a huge amount of vocal phrases. The instrument shines particularly when these features are combined. On a scale from soft and intimate to huge and epic, I would say the tone of Ethera Gold Atlantis is somewhere in the middle and covers a lot of ground. The darker, more mellow romantic legato and the soft A legato capture the quieter nuances, whereas the decorative ornaments of the E and higher dynamics of the normal R articulation bring in more power. Clara's vocal performance is outstanding. The notes are full of motion and life as the notes transition into a gorgeous vibrato tail and then gently fade out. One thing that makes this library special compared to many other vocal libraries is that it has 2 dynamic layers for each note. Pressing a note with a velocity lower than 77 triggers layer 1, as indicated in the bottom left. Whereas a velocity above 78 triggers layer 2. The main difference is usually the intensity and timing of the vibrato, and for the E articulation, the vocal ornaments. This double layer approach helps a lot when writing melodies where one note appears a couple of times throughout the phrase. Thanks to the 2 layers, not every repeated note sounds the same. Very useful. Legato check. All Ethera Gold libraries have a great, chromatically sampled true legato, but this is on another level. The transitions are butter smooth and expertly recorded and programmed across all articulations. Our ear is finely tuned to the micro details and tonalities of the human voice. That makes it incredibly hard for a vocal library to sound convincing and real. But Atlantis comes really damn close. Of course, sometimes you will notice ever so slightly variations in the intonation or the amount of breath used for a note, which would be smoother in a real recording. But first, this is barely noticeable in the context of a song, and second, apply some reverb, and this detail will literally vanish in thin air. The legato patches have a pretty high RAM footprint of 1.2 GB for the romantic true legato and 3 GB for the Atlantis true legato. So make sure to use the contact purge function and render your tracks if you have limited RAM available. With the sustain pedal, you can change the standard 250 milliseconds legato delay to a fast legato for quicker passages if you need it. You can control the length with this slider. If you want an atmospheric, ethereal sound, Atlantis works wonderfully with black hole reverb. Select a large size, a bit of pre-delay, and enjoy an evocative trip to space or the bottom of the ocean. There are 6 red key switches that trigger different types of sustains. Some of these are fairly standard sounds, and some contain some really cool effects. And then there's the phonemes builder. Here we have 13 pre-built phrases that you can chain together and toggle with the key switch, as well as crossfade with the mod wheel. The sound is eerie, haunting, and beautiful. And here's what I love the most. If you start a phrase and then add or change notes, the new notes start at the correct place of the phrase, instead of starting from the beginning. Super convenient and allows you to easily create atmospheric textures. It's like a legato within the phoneme sequence. Atlantis comes with over 1,000 phrases spread throughout multiple keys and tempos. They also cover a 3/4 measure. On the left, in the yellow key switches, there are a few inspirational sound design samples, and on the right, there's a vocal pad to support these phrases and give them context. Because each phrase is recorded like a building block for a performance, they can add realism and even more movement to your legato lines. Inside the phrase patch, with the legato option turned on, one phrase continues exactly where the other stops, and you can set a crossfade between them. The phrases are organized in a logical way and have similar sounding phrases and variations of phrases placed next to each other. This makes it easier to find phrases that fit well to each other and reduces the time of cluelessly browsing through hundreds of phrases. The phrases can be time synced to your DAW and pitched. The official recommendation is to stay within 1 semitone and 10 beats per minute of the original phrase to make sure the samples still sound great. There's also a patch that has the phrases reversed with additional reverb and processing for an even more haunting atmosphere. Ethera Gold Atlantis is one of the most gorgeous vocal sample libraries that I have heard so far. The tone and performance of every single note is full of life, and the legato gorgeous and consistent with 7 different articulations. For completion's sake, I have to mention that you should be aware there are no short articulations, which sometimes can make it a bit hard to build certain more accentuated melodies. However, diverse and unique sustains and phonemes even allow to build an entire evocative choir, and the vocal phrases support and enhance Atlantis' usefulness for writing realistic and lively melodies. This bonus functionality is an extraordinary plus for a solo vocal library, and a very welcome addition. So, how much is it? What? Okay. That's great news. That's really great news. If you want a cinematic vocal instrument and like the sound of what you've already heard, then you cannot go wrong by picking up Atlantis for this price. I wrote a little demo piece with Atlantis. All you can hear is Atlantis, except for a few synth pads and textures from Zero G's elements. All the vocals, legatos, phrases, choir, background, textures, whatnot are from Atlantis, of course. Check out Ethera Gold's Atlantis at Zero G's website, and I'll see you soon.
To